All right. I hope everybody's keeping well. I'm going to read a little bit about Buddhism. It's going to be short, and I'm going to comment what do I think or break it down, or I might be mistaken. Yeah. So I hope this can help. In asking what is Buddhism, we must begin as before with the myth. This has now become the founder's life of some 80 years, into which period the whole epic of the victory over death has now been condensed. But if we subtract from the pseudo historical narrative all its mythical and miraculous features, the residual nucleus of historically plausible facts will be very small indeed. And all that we can say is that while there may have lived an individual teacher who gave the ancient wisdom its peculiar coloring, his personality is completely overshadowed, as he must have wished it to be, by the eternal substance with which he identified himself. In other words, the Buddha is only anthropomorphic, not a man. Okay, let's break it down. Whew. There really was a guy called Gautama Siddhartha. Yeah, he was, preaching this philosophy, which was nothing new. Yeah, he was just, reading from the Vedas, from the Riga Veda, from the Bhagavad Gita. He was just, reading from Hinduism, and it wasn't, his religion. He didn't came up with it. It was already there. He just, gave a different spin, so to speak. Yeah, he was really a guy. He was not a solar deity. All right. So all the mythology that is linked to Buddhism and this mythical and miracles, there's some places, some books talk about Buddha the same way they talk about Jesus. Buddha made miracles. He walked on the water. He had a virgin birth. He actually didn't. He wasn't born, the natural way. He was born from the side. There's all this jargon that is, repeated over the centuries in multiple, almost in multiple places. In all religions, they talk about this mystical figure, and they all look the same. They heal the drunk, and they the blind, and they heal everybody, and it's a selling pitch, I would say. No, Buddha is not a solar deity at all. He gave Buddhism from Gautama is a different coloring. It has a different thing about it. Yeah, it's not the solar deity or any shit like that. No, no, no. It's a guy, and he really lived for 80 years, around 80 years. So he became almost like, in common terms, is called a dead man walking, because he stopped identifying with the physical. He stopped identifying with the material. He only identified with the immortal essences of the spiritual. So he was walking about, but he denied the physical. In some lame terms, you could say he denied himself, the wrong self, the physical self. He didn't deny the spiritual self, right? But sometimes, religious, nutcases, in the way they speak, it may seem contradictory. It's not. It's only because they either don't understand it, or they want to make it, dogmatic on purpose. Okay, so Buddha, it's not a person, right? Buddha, the name Buddha is a spiritual appellation. Okay, it's a spiritual appellation. you you before you become a Buddha, you are what's it called? Bodhisattva. You are a bodhisattva. It's someone who has the potentiality of becoming a Buddha. All right. So Gautama, he walked about the earth denying the physical. Everything, you know, possessions, vices, everything. He pretty much lived off of charity. People gave him food. He preached the philosophy, right? And people, uh, uh, gave him a place to sleep, gave him, food to eat. He probably walked about, with some sheets covering his body, and he preached this philosophy, almost like I don't know, a socialist. He goes about preaching, socialist philosophy. I'm doing this jokingly, all right. That's how socialists are. Socialists, they want to be paid, just for their, theories. They write books and they do talks, and they're expecting people to give them a salary and, compensate them just for that. Oh, share your brilliant mind with us and we'll give you everything. You almost became someone like that. I mean, I don't agree with that lifestyle. I mean, you gotta eat, you gotta pay bills. You're not gonna live off someone else's, backs. So Buddha, and there's lots of these guys in the East, these yogis, sitting underneath trees, and people, give them offerings. People give them offerings for opting out of the DNA, rat race, of the gene pool or something like it's for more men decide to go, yogi, the more women are left for the others. So they'll be like, yeah, yeah, that's a good thing. You become a yogi and I'll give you food and leave all the women for me. I mean, it's a trade. Or even in some places, families who have 5 6 children, they start, planning their future. One child is going to take care of us, so he's going to inherit the house. This one is going to marry this one. This one is going to move to another country. Da 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 da. Da. And at the end, it's going to be always someone who's going to be going to become a monk in some monastery, and that's his fate. And he's doing a sacrifice because he's no longer participating in the gene pool and participating, and people actually, give food to yogis. Thank you for your sacrifice. You know what I mean? It's a sacrifice. So let us continue. It is true that a majority of modern scholars, humoristic by temperament and training. Humoristic is a theory or a philosophy that says mythology actually comes from historical events. Yeah. So let's repeat. It is true that the majority of modern scholars, humoristic by temperament and training, suppose that this was not a man with big M, was not a man like in humanity. He was not but a dude, just a dude, a regular dude. It wasn't humanity, but just an individual that was subsequently deified. We take the contrary view that is implied in many texts, that the Buddha is a solar deity descended from heaven to save both man and gods from all ill that is denoted by the word immortality, the view that his birth and awakening are coeval with time. What he's saying is, historically speaking, we are on the side that he was a regular dude that was deified and not just another solar deity. Not at all. Then it continues saying, before proceeding to the narrative, we must explain how distinction is made between the epithets of bodhisattva and Buddha. What's the difference between a bodhisattva and a Buddha? The bodhisattva is being in the process of being awakened, The other one is already awakened. You know, Buddha is the destination. You know, Buddha is the destination. You start as a bodhisattva, then as a bodhisattva, you achieve nirvana, which is like a frontier or an invisible, line, like the hemisphere. What's it called? There's a bug here around trying to eat my blood, drink my blood. Um, it's an invisible line, like a frontier, or like one of those tropics of cancer. It's an imaginary line, invisible line. It's like a frontier. You start as a bodhisattva, you reach the line of nirvana, and when you pass that line, you become a Buddha. So, which is a spiritual appellation, So, from the state of awake, you go to the state of the one who is awake. Wake. You're not in the process of awakening. No, you're already awake. All right. So I think I'm going to stop reading here.